Spiritual Development with Frankey Craig, webinars and Facebook group. You are your best investment. Be the change you wish to see. Greetings and welcome everybody to this spiritual development webinar. I'm Frankey Craig and my special guest this time round is LeAnne Feliciano. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She is of Sacred Wild Woman, and I met LeAnne several years ago when I was living near Charlotte in North Carolina, and we had gathered for an Arcturian full moon healing kind of activation event, and had a great time. Continued to connect after that with my mandalas, and LeAnne also does wonders on your hair, and she made my hair great. I really need her now. But she's someone that, you know, you just connect with, and you don't really need to see them very much. You just pick up right where you left off from. She's someone who has stayed in my heart, and our connection is definitely beyond time and space. And I've just enjoyed watching LeAnne unfolding and watching her travels around the globe to fire dance. She's a transpersonal clinical master hypnotherapist and shamanic practitioner, and she had studied under the apprenticeship of Robbie Warren of Otter Dance School Earth Medicine, who I know of. Robbie, she's absolutely wonderful. I've never met her myself, but it's another one of those energies that I connect with, for sure. I resonate. LeAnne also works with plant medicine, and she's studying under the Southeast wise woman, Karina Wood. And LeAnne's helping many people to remember their truth, and she's a guide for many people who are awakening. She's really assisting them to reclaim their sacred, joyous, wild and true nature. And she can do this work because I believe she's lived it and she's walking it right now. So I love one of the things that LeAnne wrote recently about when she says wild, as in wild woman. She is talking about wild being where the soul resides. She likes to use the word wild to capture the idea that you can be free, empowered, and stand in your truth, which I love that. So with absolutely no further ado, I'm going to welcome LeAnne, and thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me this morning. I just want to highlight we're riding the waves of a huge supermoon right now.
We are. Yes, we
So
are.
high five us for being here.
And it turns out to be that I'm a Scorpio, so this is right exactly like
Oh, you. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm just riding one of those waves, like I said. But thank you for being here. And yeah, is there anything that you would like to add to that little introduction about yourself?
It's an honor to be here, by the way. So thank you for having me, Frankie. It really is so exciting. So yeah, I would like to add on that I also work at a recovery center as a hypnotherapist. And one of the things that I love to do is to work with people in recovery and mental health. Um, and I'm a recovery coach. So it's really it's near and dear to me because I have had a personal experience with addiction and mental health, and that's actually how I got on this path. Actually, before that, but you know, as a result of my curiosity, it has helped me with those issues that I had struggled with personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, again, that there's resonates with me because mental health has been something close to my heart. I used to work for a consultant psychiatrist for a long time, just typing up his notes and stuff in a community mental health clinic in a not so nice part of London. But a seed kind of got planted with me a long time ago during those days. And then I've had a partner who's also been in recovery, and very grateful to all the people that helped him during that process. So yeah, it's also close to my heart, and because I want it noted as well that all of these webinars that I'm doing, it's not just like spiritual development for everyone else. I'm totally like, I'm getting it too. And it's like every time I'm meeting a person and connecting with them, lots of things are coming up in my life and realigning with the person that I'm tuning into.
Right. Right.
So I've been meeting a lot of people who are awakening lately.
Mhm.
um,
Easier.
and yeah, and the mental health side of it has come up quite a bit as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of work still to be done. There's a lot of people to be helped within these areas. So I'm curious, kind of what kind of journey has led you to this point of your life?
That is like a loaded question.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
How
Um,
far do you want to go?
I mean, how far do we want? Do we want to go to age 11, or do we want to go
Right,
to
right.
18 or 17? You know, where do we want to go?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
really hard to get these questions.
it is, and I get it. So uh, I'll share a little bit of background of my youth. Um, so as a child, I struggled with bipolar disorder. Actually, I was misdiagnosed, and I was also gifted as a child too. And so I was always told that I was imagining things, or that I was mentally ill or something like that. And I struggled with suicidal ideacy at the ages of 11, because I had a very traumatic issue that happened when I was from the ages of 2 to 11, a lot of abuse. And and on top of that, I had all these spiritual things that were going on. I would see ghosts, or would be able to experience some psychic experiences that most kids who are 11 do experience, but don't recognize. So moving on forward to ages 16, I got my first deck of tarot cards. In the 90s and 80s, we're told, that's voodoo, that's witchcraft. And so I shut that down because I wanted to be accepted. But knowing that I wasn't always accepted. I
Right.
didn't feel like I was accepted. So moving forward at 18, 19, I got into alcohol and drugs because of all of the things that were going on in my life, as far as the trauma was starting to surface.
Right.
Um, and around that time, I started reading a lot of spiritual books, actually, because I was seeking. I was seeking this something, and I knew it was tangible, but I couldn't grasp onto it because I was so young, and the drugs and alcohol were also a basis of me not being able to be clear headed. So so I continued down my journey, and having all these experiences here and there. Moving to Boston, I had had my first really big experience in Salem, Boston, and that's a long story, but it's a very long story. But it was my first doorway to knowing that I had had not only a past life, but I had had a lot of spiritual experiences happening. It was not a coincidence that I was in Boston, Salem, Massachusetts, and I was reliving certain experiences in my life. Now, I was still taking medication at the time, and dealing with a lot of repressed uh, repressed memories. Um, so I was getting tired of taking medication, and I think, my journey has been so long in trying to find a holistic way of not taking medication, but it was also a soul sickness that I was experiencing too. Meaning I had not completely connected to a spirit, a God of my understanding. Does that make sense? And so I became obsessed and started doing modalities that started making me feel better. To be honest with you, I had done certifications and gone back to school to be a hypnotherapist in my 30s and things of that nature, because there's just so much in between then and now that I can't pinpoint to you
Right.
the aha, but I can pinpoint to you that when I decided to heal the trauma, to walk through the trauma and to get sober, then I was able to use the modalities that not only I was trained to use, but that I also do on a regular basis.
Good.
And eventually, 10 years later, or 9 years later, I was able to completely not be medicated. Now, I don't suggest that to everybody. Everybody, I believe that medication, Eastern medication, is a huge component to why I was able to keep balance,
Right.
right? But as a result of hypnosis, theta healing, uh, CBT, DBT, dialectical behavior treatment, working with a shaman, having my own healer,
Right.
and also doing the modalities, the freedom that I experience today is beyond. And 6 years, what was it, 10 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening. I literally had a spiritual awakening to where my body got so sick because it was finally saying it's time to heal the emotional wounds that you have. Not doing the spiritual bypass, but actually doing the work. Now, that's what I'm seeing for a lot of people. And I'll back up for just a second. It's I have had this awakening, this spiritual awakening, and like, what the f do I do now, right? Like, what do I
Yeah.
do? And I didn't have anybody to help me back then. I
Right.
had little teachers here and there, but I felt like I was going through a crisis, and I did actually. Like a lot of people, it's not just, oh, let me decide to have a spiritual awakening and it's all fluffy and sweet and
Right. It's messy.
it's messy, but it's beautiful, right?
Right. Right.
So beautiful when you get to the other side of that. And so
Absolutely.
that is why I have decided to take well, actually Spirit has asked me to take the work further. That I am just the facilitator, right?
Right.
Because I'm actually doing Spirit's work, if that makes any sense.
Completely. I think that's wonderful. And there's, I've been watching a lot of documentaries. I've had the time lately, and one of the things I love about the shamanic path is the side that when you want to walk it, it's usually under an apprenticeship that's for a certain amount of years, and you're learning for a long time to integrate all of this amazing stuff because they know you're going to be another person at the end of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's so important to give ourselves that time to integrate all of the awakening knowledge that comes to us. So um, yeah, it can be pretty messy.
And so beautiful at the same time. And like most of us in a shamanic practice, if we talk about the dark night of the soul, and that's kind of that space, the dark night of the soul. It gets better. It gets so
Right.
much better. But and a lot of people decide not to do the work because of fear or having to change because change is uncomfortable
Right.
and yet beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I remember the outside world looking in um on me during my awakening process may have thought I was quite crazy at times, and I need medicating. But no, there was that. It was like it was an old unfolding and unpeeling. There's this stirring in me that it's hard to articulate. You know, it's really hard to explain to people what you're feeling and what you're going through. So I think we're misunderstood a lot of those awakening moments. And I've I remember reading a lot about the shamans talking about mental health and how those people are experiencing realities differently and don't necessarily need medicating. And I'm with you in that I believe that they do have their purpose and their place. Just be with somebody who's completely psychotic and tell me something different. Um, but at the same time, I believe that we can gently use many of these different therapies to bring that person back to wellness so that they don't need to have that thing in their life anymore. If that's for them, you know, that's, and again, it's not to each his own.
It's definitely not for everyone, but you know, and it is very powerful. It is a
Yeah.
very powerful, all of the modalities that I named off, they're all very, very powerful.
Now, they all have their own unique qualities and perspectives that add to the whole. And I mean, I know myself that what you need right now is not necessarily what you're going to need next week or next year. It's just we're constantly um, using these tools to keep developing our own perspective. Um, so many people are going through this awakening process on the planet, and even more so right now. Definitely more. But from your perspective, can you share what awakening may entail?
So, you know, it's interesting. I was pondering this question for the last couple of days, and one of the things I think of as awakening is the soul is recognizing that the ego uh, is no longer suiting for them, meaning that the way that they are living their lives, the human being, the person is living their lives, it's no longer working for them. And they've proven that over and over, almost like addiction. But it's the soul basically saying, hey, you can't live like this anymore. And they're recognizing that spirit's calling them. Right? That doesn't mean that they, again, spiritual bypass, not take a look at the emotional issues that are at hand, that are going on, you know, that they use just spirituality to bypass some deep rooted stuff. And that's where I help people.
Right.
But I mean, there are a lot of newbies that don't even know what grounding looks like or what it means or how to call in their spirit guides or their God, or how to have a relationship with a God of their understanding during this process. And so that is the stuff that I am helping people to walk through. I guess some people would say I am the gatekeeper of those who have awakened, especially with those who have either been sober for some time and they're like, this isn't my spiritual practice isn't working anymore, and I don't know why that is happening. Or even for those who have been in the mental health aspect and recognizing they needed to take it a step further, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um, I can remember this one woman. I was doing a reading for her, and she said, I don't know awoken, and I don't know where to go. And I looked at her and I said, I think you've come to the right place. Not because I'm the end all or be all, not because I know everything. I have a little idea of what that feels like, and a little idea of how to guide someone that has that is going through that experience, not only professionally but personally.
Right.
And that, that is very important to me. Now, we in hypnosis and in psychology, we talk about transference. And so I make sure that I do not transfer my personal experiences to my clients because it is
Right.
unethical. However, I do have an idea of what that person that is sitting in my chair, what they're experiencing and how to guide them, but not
Mhm.
personally get emotionally attached to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely, and very healthy. It's perfect. It is what people need, and I feel like awakening, it is so different for everybody, and there's like levels of this awakening. There's like, yes, there's that first experience, but then there's like many others afterwards too.
Yes.
And, some of them are, yeah, part of my awakening was my health. Hey, you have a body. Do you even know how that works? And then
Oh my God, I can
another
relate.
another layer of it was, um, I'm going to call it the era of truth, because that's when I was shown a lot of the things that I thought in the world were givens were blown out of my hands. Like what I thought was true and real and what I had believed in all got taken away from me in 2 hours. And I was like, okay, well, I don't even know, what to do about that anymore, because that whole reality, I don't even, I don't even believe in it anymore. So that was another one, but that was a traumatic
It
one,
is a traumatic one, yeah.
And all I wanted to do was go around and wake everyone else up. And I was always grateful for my dad, who said to me, wait for people to come and ask the question, they'll, when they're ready and they want to hear you, they'll ask, and that was valuable. So I learned quite quickly, okay, keep it for you, because otherwise they're going to lock you up.
That's awesome.
but but yeah, after I'd integrated all of that, it was amazing, and I'm so grateful for the whole experience. It was just this stripping away of these beliefs that don't support me anymore.
Bingo.
Right.
Bingo right there. Those
Yeah.
limiting beliefs that we all have had.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it's been this whole journey. It's just, I love the word remembrance, instead of healing, because I'm feeling like I'm already healed. I'm already perfect. There's nothing wrong with me. I just need to remember that there's all these beliefs that I've built up that go against that, but I've been peeling them back layer by layer. And like you, in the first experiences of awakening, there wasn't much people around me to influence or give or guide me as to what I was going through. So that's why I felt it was important to have this call with you, because um, I would have appreciated to hear things like this back then. You know, slow down and take it easy, let yourself integrate, let yourself heal. It's not a race to get anywhere.
Exactly.
Um, and yeah, I learned that the hard way in some ways, because I did make those choices. But like I said, I never had the guidance around me. I was not conscious enough to know that at the time. So I think it really helps to be able to guide people through this.
I agree with you.
And yeah,
I wanted to add on.
so
Sorry.
sorry. No, you go.
No, I wanted to add on that because you made a valid point about that we're a whole, we're already whole, we're already healed, and you are absolutely right. And that's one of the you had said that I had said the word wild, and it's the where the soul resides, and that's what reclaiming the truth of who you are, reclaiming that part of you that so desperately wants to break free from those limiting beliefs that your soul knows that it no longer works. And that is the place that we all want to be, is reclaiming who we really are. Or I'm going to speak for the people that I've worked with and for myself. I'm not going to speak for the majority because, not everybody wants that space. But it is the reclaiming. And that's why I say that, because it's not just wild and crazy. It's,
Right.
it's the wild fire within. I always say that I went from wild child to wild woman to sacred wild.
I like that. I love
Yeah,
that.
because it was the wildness that was truly who I was, but I didn't know how to act on
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
it. Right? Didn't know how to
Wow.
do that. So yeah.
It's funny. I had one of the last people that I spoke to. We had talked about some of the plant medicines and stuff, and I got to talk about my ayahuasca journeys quite a lot. And one of those journeys was again peeling back those beliefs of and the patterns that other people had imprinted upon me. And I feel like a lot of the plant medicines kind of like give us this shortcut. It's not, because it's really hard work, but at the same time you get to do so much in that very small amount of time. So I'm kind of like, you get to go through it real quick, intensely but quicker. So you get a lot of healing from those, and you can integrate it with the help of the plants as well, if that's your journey. Obviously, not that I think that everybody should do it, that you when you're supposed to. But yeah, I think all of these things just help to build up this, to help us keep working through our own trauma and subconscious belief patterns and stuff, and become more authentic and true to ourselves, and clearer channels, for true healing to occur. Our own energy is not hindering any process anymore. It's just an open channel. So I think that's where we all need to keep striving for, during this whole process, is to bring it home the whole time.
I would like to talk about the plant medicine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, my
It did
favorite.
occur to me this morning. I was like, I wonder if LeAnne.
That's how I tie everything in anyway.
Right.
Right? So, you spoke about ayahuasca, and I have nothing against ayahuasca because I think it's a beautiful plant. I have not journeyed with it at all. However, in the last 2.5 to 3 years, I have journeyed with about 8 to 9 plants already, with a 40-day journey. And I work with the consciousness of the plant. And that is another way that the medication has helped me, not having medication, anything like that, truly connecting to the spirit of it, the medicinal part of it, and having a relationship with the plant. because honestly, they want to know, they want to have a relationship with all of us. And they have so many gifts to offer. I get so excited. I don't know why, but you know how there's a crazy cat lady. I'm the crazy weird plant lady.
Fun lady.
So
There's something in the air. I'm telling you. There's I've been feeling it, but and I tell you what, I watched a really like brief snippet of Laurie Ladd on YouTube this morning. She talks about a lot about the 5D New Earth. And one of the things that she was talking about recently was how a lot of us were um, helping to anchor in this 5D consciousness and are planting uh, the seeds in the ground is like our energy that goes into that seed that then goes into the earth um, is what's helping to raise the consciousness. And I'm seeing a lot of people who don't usually planting a lot.
mhm,
They're definitely calling to us, and the excitement that I hear in you, I'm hearing it in others as well. That they're realizing that they are living beings.
they
You
are.
know, they are. Their medicine is just like mind blowing, and it feels like it lives within you. Like once you really connect with it, it's in you. You are
The
that
rest
plant.
of your
You know.
life.
Yeah.
And in shamanic terms, all they become our ally, right?
Right.
So I had the beautiful luxury of working with St. John's Wort, and one of the things, you know, it's such a bright plant, but it also helps with depression, helps to stabilize the mood, but it also helps with digestion. It helps with anti inflammation. But what we say in shamanic terms is that once we have this ally, we can call upon its medicine, its energy, and it ignites within our spirit. In that it become we embody that medicine if they call upon if we call upon them. Meaning God can't help us, our spirit guides can't help us, and our plant allies and our power animals cannot help us if we do not ask for help.
Right.
But if I call upon my ally, Saint John's Wort or Saint Joan, she will come and she will ignite in me, and I can feel it within my body because I have had such an intimate relationship with her that it stays within your molecular system, molecular memory,
Yeah.
and it's just, I, yeah, I don't even have the words for it. It's one people have to experience for themselves, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I encourage people definitely. I mean, and not even just psychedelic plants, put those aside, even though they're awesome. Just your usual holy basil, your lavenders and your
right.
chamomiles, and they're just as powerful to connect with. I think you did a video recently on holy
Mhm.
basil as well. That was awesome, and I know that Kim was one of your allies there as well, who I
Yes. Oh
love.
my God, I didn't know what
I
I was
love.
doing.
It was well, it caught my eye, and it planted a seed with me. I'm like, yeah, we need to talk.
It's just amazing, and I love that I get to do these teachings for people too, and I'm finding people are becoming more curious about that. And as a
Right,
whole, it all connects with the hypnosis that I do and the shamanic work that I do and the plant medicine that I do for these clients. They all connect because when I can sit in ceremony with someone, they can have a cup of St. John's wort, and I can do this ceremony for them to help clear out their energy field,
right,
or hypnosis to clear out anxiety and then drink the tea, or whatever it is that I do for my clients. It's all incorporate. I mean, it's all encompassing.
right. They all fit. It all. interlaces and
Indeed.
works balances each other. I feel that too. And hypnosis for me has also been like major tool for me. In fact, kind of the foundations of a lot of what I do is it's all about reprogramming the mind and releasing those limiting beliefs. And then obviously the really exciting side of it where we can really start to explore, various past lives and past selves and other dimensions and all kinds of wonderful stuff. I mean, if you can think it, you can do it. It's amazing.
That is so cool.
But I do like those induction tools to help put people at ease from the get go. I think they're really valuable. Um, and I realised recently that I've been doing a lot of those things naturally with people, just not realising what I was actually doing. I think people have a lot of misconceptions about hypnosis and what it actually is and how it actually feels and all of that. So I encourage people to learn about that a lot more and experience for themselves, firsthand.
Right. Right. It's definitely not mind control, that's for sure.
Right. No, no, it's definitely not. It's definitely. And one of the things that I think is all I love sharing with people because I was under the misconception before I'd had hypnosis that I would be out of it, that I wouldn't know what's going on. When the reality is, I am so hyper aware, it's unbelievable. So, and that really threw me in the beginning because I was like, well, where did that come from? Well, I knew everything that was going on, and but I I realised that I was in this real heightened state, and that there was also a process that happens once you kind of unlock those memories in you to recalibrate everything.
Exactly. And, it is my responsibility as not only a medicine woman, but a hypnotherapist to hold the soul, to really care for the soul and the memories that happen, that crop up. And that I think is so important for many practitioners to remember as well. It's
Right.
about me. It's about holding that soul in a really good way.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why it kind of ties up to the next question is, how important it is to do the inner work.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh
I
my
think,
goodness.
and I'm being pushed from my comfort zone. I would consider myself pretty good at being able to hold space for people, but then I'm not perfect, so I can't always hold space for other people. And it's knowing, where my own boundaries are and just being true to myself, and that side um, is just so important.
I agree with you. And that is, I think earlier in our talk is that when I said, I can relate to the person that is in front of me, but it is my responsibility to hold that space for the client, to do my work continuously. Every good healer, and you'll hear it all the time, every good healer has a good healer or has multiple healers. And I have about four or five of them. And that is because that if I transfer my emotions to my client, that is very unprofessional, professional and unethical.
Right.
And it is important that we continue to do our work. And my hashtag is do your healing work because um, if not, those things do crop up. And so, as a healer, as a practitioner, I'm going to say practitioner because I think everybody is their own healer. I get the sense. For me, I believe that everyone is their own healer. I'm just a facilitator, I'm a guider. Um, and if I I don't continue to do my healing work, the person that comes in front of me that has been raped or has had multiple abuse issues that come up, and I feel their energy because I'm empathic, that can either not. I can allow that energy, or the pockets in my energetic field can be open, and that energy can come and absorb into me. Now, mind you, in the shamanic practices, we call upon, I have claimed sovereignty, right? But that when I claim sovereignty, that means that no energy field can come inside of me. However, there is room for pockets of energy to come in when I'm not spiritually fit.
Right. Right.
And so it's so important to do your work. Like, there's no way I could do this work if I didn't consistently do my own stuff. Not because I'm not healed, not because I'm imperfect. We are all perfectly imperfect, right? However, we are still human beings,
Right.
right? And so, and it's so cliche, it's that human being having a human experience. However, it is a true statement.
Right. It really is. And I know that you're gonna resonate in a lot of ways because I really feel like my journey has pushed me towards, to keep going inside, to keep trusting my own truth, to stop putting others on pedestals, to, to have a guru and not realize that they are also human and they also have challenges, that they are like you said, perfect and imperfect at the same time. And it's just recognizing that we're all on the same journey, and we're all just at this um, different levels of awareness, but at the same time still human beings that have to work through our own stuff. Um, just is the way it is. And that's, I mean, I love development. Spiritual development has always been just a part of life for me. It's like ongoing. I don't see myself doing anything different when I'm 90. I'm still going to be seeking, I'm still going to keep unfolding and expanding and learning because there's no way I know it all. So I just want to keep going. But and yeah, I think the inner work helps us all just to become more authentic and true to ourselves and not put that pressure on ourselves to be everything for everybody. Um, and being an empath too, having to set those boundaries within myself as to when I work with somebody and when I don't, because sometimes the emotional connection is too strong and I am going to get what they have. End of story. So I know myself that I can't do that. And it's taken a long time to be able to do that. And even now, every now and then, I may get caught off guard, but it's always an opportunity to just fine tune these abilities that I've got. So, um,
I agree.
but I'm definitely very discerning, and I think that our intentions behind our work have to be clear, especially when we're doing healing. I don't feel like you can go into healing because you want to make money from this. I don't have a problem with people making money from it. It's the intention behind why they are doing this. Because if your motivation is finance, then you're going to take on a client that, oh, I don't feel right today or whatever. Oh, but I need to earn this. It then completely convolutes everything. So I am not saying you can't earn. I'm just saying make sure your intentions are clear about, why you're doing this. My thing is, as long as my needs are met, however they are come, then I'm good with that.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I have literally said to a client before, I cannot do your session, not today. And the reason why is because I have to take care of myself so that I can be of service to you.
Yeah.
And that way I can be completely present and care for you in the right way necessary.
Right.
And they are, you know, they take it very well, better than I could have ever imagined. Um, so it's interesting when you're honest because there's not enough money for me to put someone at harm.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, completely. Completely. Yeah, just be true to yourself, and like you said, when you're honest, it's like honesty and truth, it has a frequency that people recognize. They may or may not like it, but they recognize that it's the truth. So it usually opens up the energy even more on both sides. So
right.
um, it's great. So let's I want to start introducing, plugging, certain books, people, websites, music, anything that you're kind of into or inspired by right now. Um, what you are into?
Oh man, I do a lot of self help, and you know, a lot of my reading is hard reading. So, uh, what is it? I am in the process of reading Pam Montgomery's Plant Spirit Medicine book. I am also reading Sandra Ingerman's Soul Retrieval, just a brusher up on my soul retrieval work. I'm also reading Ancestral Medicine with Daniel Four. Also, Danielle Laporte, and hers is about uh, about business. I can't remember, but it's about business. So those are the things that I read.
That's nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. You've planted it. The soul retrieval work is coming up for me quite a lot. I'm feeling like I may need to do that.
You talk to me. We can talk.
It's calling. It's calling for some reason. Yeah, I so noted.
And
Well,
I think
thank you for sharing. Sorry,
we'll
carry
hear
on.
about that soul retrieval, and a lot of the soul retrieval does come from, you know, and that's why I use the why I say I speak to the person who is the awoken person or the one who is in uh, working with recovery is that a lot of times the parts of the soul have been taken away due to traumas, drinking, or traumatic experiences. And that's where the soul retrieval is so important, is to bring back the pieces that have been disassociated or disconnected.
Right.
And so that's why that work is so powerful.
Yeah, I'm interested because I know that I've had a lot of hypnotherapy that's taking me to remembrance of different lives. And I also did like a DNA regression once where I stopped off many times to see all these different lives. And I've started seeing a pattern with all of this stuff. Which I think I think I'm kind of living it again in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna continue down that. It's been in the USA. It's stirred up even more past stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be for you in the UK.
Yeah.
Just so you know, you do like moving countries. Just it's like it releases the karma that you had with the country that you grew up with,
Interesting.
but you're picking up all this old ancient stuff with the one that you've gone to.
I can see that. I can completely see that.
But no, it's a good ride though. So thank you so much for sharing with me today. It's been a really good chat. I definitely have enjoyed your wisdom and could easily talk a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
But thank you to anyone who's tuned in and watching this video. Please check out LeAnne's awesome website, sacredwildwoman.com. Connect with her on her social media accounts. She's on Instagram and Facebook. She's always sharing inspirational content, and she's based in Charlotte at the moment, North Carolina.
Right.
But there's many ways to connect with her, so just head on over to her website and explore. Um, so yeah, thanks again. We're going to sign off for today, and I'll be seeing everybody again soon with my next guest. But thank you, LeAnne. Have a great day.
Thank
And
you. It's an honor.
have a wonderful day, okay? We'll talk soon.
All right.
Okay.